Well, here we are again, and just like Pacino in The Godfather Part 3, just like that famous line.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Yeah, that's how it feels. So after months of complete radio silence and basically a lot of the not particularly great rumours about the show at the minute, Doctor Who is officially back. It was confirmed on Tuesday as I'm recording this by the BBC that Doctor Who will be coming back for Christmas 2026 in a special penned by Rusty Davies, which is good.
Are you sure about that?
But it's also been confirmed that Disney, the Disney partnership with which was for season 1 and 2, and the upcoming War Between the Land and the Sea spin-off miniseries, that deal is now over and it's just back to the BBC. I'm reading between some of the lines and some of the other articles that have come out since. It does seem like Russell is just coming back for this one special, like the Christmas special. Presumably Billy Piper will be the Doctor of some kind. I haven't got a clue at this point. But yeah, presumably Russell's kind of just like tying this up and then going, and then it'll go over to somebody new, which I mean, I hope is the case, to be honest. And because, yeah, while I have obviously slagged off a lot of Russell's writing over the past couple of seasons in this new era, I'm glad that he's at least kind of, you know, wrapping it up and just, you know, finishing it off. I'm glad that it's not as unconclusive as the reality war was. It does also mean that we have, you know, the departure of Disney from the show, which I think is a good thing. I think their influence, I think you could kind of feel it on the current era, and the vibe of it felt a bit marvelly. Now, part of that is due to RTD directly being inspired by stuff like the MCU shows and movies and whatnot recently, but you can kind of feel the Disney kind of glossiness. I don't think it really worked overall. So I think going back to something a bit more small scale, I think might be good. You know, kind of less is more in that kind of case. And we also have a bit more information on the War Between the Land and the Sea spin-off, where apparently it's going to be in the UK broadcasting on the BBC late 2025, so I'm guessing Christmas time, and then in about February 2026 for the international Disney Plus audience. And it's nice that they reminded us of that, because I genuinely have forgotten that. I do keep forgetting that show is coming out. But beyond all that, there's not really anything else that's concrete about it. We don't really know anything about what this special will entail. We just kind of know Doctor Who's back, Russell's writing this special, and then presumably handing it off to somebody else. And even that's kind of rumour at this stage, but that's more than likely what's going to happen. But yeah, it is nice to have a bit of a, you know, something nice about the current era, some good news about the current era, because we've had the amount of hits since the reality war aired. And for one, the public perception of Doctor Who, Jesus Christ, has fallen off a cliff. It really has. And look, I love Doctor Who, I always have, but it really has just, the profile of the show has just fallen off a cliff, as I've mentioned in videos before. But it's not just from the fans and, you know, people like me talking about the show, it's also those connected with it. I mean, since season 2 ended, the articles, you know, there's stuff like Millie Gibson having to confirm rumours that her being axed from the show for being a diva wasn't true. That was a rumour during like season 1, and she recently confirmed, yeah, that was total tabloid BS. Then you had Rob Shim, one of the Big Finish writers and the writer of Dalek, one of the best episodes from series 1, his kind of scathing opinion on the show. Not like, it's not attacking, but, you know, he was very critical of some of the choices of the show at the minute. And then Caroline Ford, Susan Foreman herself, the original Doctor Who companion, who obviously came back in Interstellar Song Contest, was meant to reappear and basically confirm, yeah, her part was cut, and that's not the original ending. Then we're saying, oh, it was always the plan. Yeah, it wasn't. Caroline Ford basically just said, no, it was not the plan. But yeah, just based on all of that, like from people linked to the show, like even directly linked, people who have been in this era, like Millie Gibson, Caroline Ford, this era is gonna go down as an absolute low point for the show. And I don't like saying that, but it absolutely will. Like other eras that have had trouble productions, I don't think have reeked of trouble production quite like this era has. I think it's been so blatantly obvious that it's just gone completely tits up. And there's no shame in admitting that. But I think that's what makes it even worse, is that they haven't kind of been admitting, they've been like, yeah, it's always the plan. It's like, no, it was not. It was not always the plan. It's very, very contradictory a lot of the time, and it doesn't win you over, like, it doesn't win the trust of the audience over. But yeah, as I say, it is a nice bit of news to have, you know, Doctor Who's back, because as much as I'm critical of this new era, I'm critical of the show, I love it because I want it to thrive, and, you know, it is nice to have it still. You know, it's nice to have it back at the BBC, and nice to see that they do value it. Because genuinely, I was expecting another long hiatus. I did not expect to hear it by the end of this year, frankly. But obviously there are so many questions of, like, you know, what is the future going to even look like? You know, the only thing we now have is just that image that they put on the other day. It's not really, you know, who is the Doctor, who's the production team. Like, it's very unclear future at the minute. And this also kind of feeds into another issue that I've had with the show for a bit now. And it's a topic that Thowry's actually did a video covering, which I, recommend his channel, because he's one of the only few YouTubers that I keep up to date with, so go check out his channel. He's always done amazing content. But he did a video talking about Doctor Who's reboot problem. Basically how it feels like every other year we're having a new reboot, a new clean slate. You can trace this back arguably to the Moffat era. Obviously Series 1 comes along, it has to be a reboot, which makes sense. And Series 5 comes along with Matt Smith and Stephen Moffat. Yeah, it's a bit more of an overhaul, but you've had like 5 years of the same, it's good to refresh it. And then sort of during the Moffat era, you would have sort of reboots, kind of like sort of clean slates during that time as like jumping on points. Even with Series 10, the series I jumped on board with, I hate to kind of admit it, but yeah, But I think there I can give it a pass because it wasn't as overdone as it was that now. Because the season after, Series 11, you have Whittaker and Chibnall come along and, it's another clean slate. It's like, well, we just had one last year, so that's why Series 11 has always been felt like a real damn squib of a season, because it's like, it's kind of just doing what the previous season did 10 times better. Then you have the Shooting Out era, which is meant to be this whole new era, this whole clean slate reboot. You can start from there, and look how far it got you. And inevitably, what comes next will be another clean slate, another kind of jumping on point, and it's like there's no momentum being built at all nowadays, and it just like, it's a real shame. It's a real shame, and it is kind of exhausting after a while. And as I've said, I wouldn't have minded Doctor Who having a bit of a break, because you need time to miss it with how exhausting, as I say, it's kind of been to keep up with. And hopefully, this extended bit off maybe will, but again, I kind of don't feel like it will, because it feels like it's still kind of part of the same era in a way. It's weird to kind of put it. Basically, I think because it's not because it's not another Wilderness year, it doesn't feel as obviously as much of a break in the same way that like the break between Power of the Doctor and the 60th was. It's gonna kind of feel a bit like that. Maybe it's tad long, not enough of a break to really miss it. And at the end of the day, I think the show just needs someone new. It just needs, like, in terms of like the writing, we need new talent, we need new blood, we need new visions for the show, and like we've had the same stuff for 20 years. Russell writing this Christmas special in 2026. For well over 20 years he's been writing for the show, and it's just like we need someone new. And even the other writers like Stephen Moffat, Chris Chibnall, it's always been the same formula mostly. Like, yeah, there's been differences here and there, but it's very often just stuck to the same formula for like over 20 years now. And that's what got the classic series in the rut that it was during the 80s, So if the show's going to carry on and the BBC want to carry on Doctor Who, they need to really, I know it's kind of sound a bit hypocritical, but like, they do need to overhaul it, but really commit to that. Not just going to go 2 seasons, just like commit to something different, commit to a different style for the show. Whatever form that'll take, I don't know, but just please be good, please be well thought out, that's all I ask. And if the show is going to, come back and be amazing again, and I'll be watching, don't you worry. Yeah, that was just my 2 pence on this one. I know it's very random. I've just come out of nowhere for the past... I've not done a video in like, nearly 3 months now? Yeah, life gets in the way. That happens. But this will always be my soapbox to talk Doctor Who, I suppose, so, I'll always be here to talk about it. So, I don't know how to end this anymore. I guess if you want to start a discussion in the comments, let me know what you think about any of this, what are some of your feelings and thoughts towards this news, positive or negative, let me know all that. Let's get a discussion going in the comments, and until next time, you take care and have a great day.